Hi, my name is Tonya Lewis-Taylor. I am the CEO and Executive Director of the I Will Graduate program, and I am on So Booking Cool, and I'm so excited about our interview, and I look forward to seeing you all very soon. But in the meantime, check out my new book, Be You Not Her, on Amazon Books, or check out what our organization is doing at iwillgraduateprogram.com. Thank you. Have a good day.
So fucking cool.
It's so motherfucking cool to listen to So Booking Cool.
Welcome to So Booking Cool. It's Jewel B. Today's guest is an acclaimed and award-winning veteran multi-hyphenate who is passionate about motivating others, whether it's through music, her book, Be You, Not Her, Becoming the Woman You Were Created to Be, or her organization's Entertainers for Education Alliance and the I Will Graduate Youth Development Agency. She is a former educator, and before becoming a seasoned music executive whose path included Roc-A-Fella Records, she was a global backup singer for the likes of Mariah Carey, Mary J. Blige, Fred Hammond, and Donnie McClurkin. She blossomed into an artist of her own, a Billboard Top 15 gospel artist to be exact, with empowering songs like Thank You and I Am More Than a Conqueror. The I Will Graduate program, which launched in 2006, has been honored by mayors Bill de Blasio and Bloomberg, as well as former Governor David Paterson. It was even declared its own day, I Will Graduate Day. Recently, she teamed up with Audrey and Greg Jackson, the parents of the late rapper Bashar Jackson, aka Pop Smoke. Their powerful public service announcement is called Gun Violence Destroys Families. Here with us today in this episode, she is Tonya Lewis-Taylor. Stay tuned for our conversation only on So Booking Cool.
Thank you so much for having me, Jewel. It's always a pleasure to be with you.
Yes, thank you so much for coming on, and you're most very, very welcome. I know that, we got to connect during the summer actually for the release of your book. And what can you tell us about Be You Not Her, and how did you grow while you were writing Be You Not Her, and how have you grown since the book has come out?
Oh my God. I mean, Be You Not Her was a lifelong journey of really discovering my uniqueness, my gifts and my talents. I was always that kid that just was a little strange, and I had all of these things going on with me. I was a musician, and definitely I could sing, and I was also very astute in business, and all of these different qualities. I couldn't understand how they all fit into the world. So when I wrote this book, it was really me just kind of purging myself and understanding my uniqueness and how that uniqueness is part of the design for my life and my destiny. And so it's been an amazing journey. I have learned and grown from this book and just doing women empowerment meetings and speaking to women and the feedback that I get from them in reference to their own struggles of becoming the woman that they were created to be. So it's been amazing. I'm still on a journey. I'm growing every day. I'm getting better. So thank you for asking.
Oh yes, no problem. Thank you for sharing that. And how have you been managing, during the pandemic and everything that's been going on?
Well, for me, it has been a struggle. I came down with COVID, my husband and my dad. And at the time when I got COVID, people, 800-900 people were dying every day in New York City. And of course, I thought it was a death sentence. And so I went through a lot of emotions during that time. My husband and I were both sick at the same time, but we made it through. I have a lot of family members that weren't fortunate enough to make it through. I lost a few cousins, and we lost my husband's godfather. We lost a lot of friends and family members. So on that end, it has been extremely hard, very devastating. But on the other end, which is so interesting, it has this pandemic has really done something amazing, which is allow the family to be back connected and to slow us down and make us take stock of the things that are really important. For my company, we have grown exponentially, during the pandemic. And we have lost a lot, but we've gained so much. So, it's a bittersweet sweet time for us, but at the same time, I will say that the pandemic, it's going to be over like everyone else, and we know that eventually we'll come out of this better than we were.
Yes, that's a very positive way to look at it. And you have my condolences, Tonya.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, what advice can you give? Yeah.
It's been rough. It's been a roller coaster, really. And I think for all of us, and I think, we've cried so much that, when I would hear that someone else had died, it wasn't even any more tears because we had cried so much the first 5 or 6 months into this pandemic with, so many people just, I was getting calls every day. And it was really ridiculous. And so I'm just grateful that we're on the upswing, and hopefully things will get back to some semblance of normalcy.
Yes. And how can people keep hope?
Well, I'm a woman of faith. And so whenever you talk about hope, I have to go to where I go for hope. And my hope is built on nothing less than my Savior. And I am, that's what I depend on. That's who I depend on. And when I don't know what to do, He knows what to do. And when I'm unsure, He's unsure. And so that's where I get my strength and my hope. And I know that everything that we go to works out for our good, right? And so even though we don't understand it when it's happening, eventually everything works out in our favor. And so that's what I hold on to, and that's what I believe.
Yes. And you also mentioned that your business during this time also has grown exponentially. So when did you know, I want to know, when did you know I Will Graduate the program was needed?
I knew when, back in those days, I was handling a lot of A-list talent, celebrities. I was traveling all over the world. I was all over the place. And we just happened to, I got a call from a friend of mine that was at a school and said, "Hey, Tonya," she knew I was working at Roc-A-Fella Records. She knew my pedigree. And she said, "Can you bring a celebrity to my school?" And I said, "Oh, that's easy. Let me bring some of the Roc-A-Fella artists." We just bombarded her school with all of the Roc-A-Fella artists. And it became an amazing opportunity for us to do something good at that school. And that was the moment I knew that I Will Graduate was needed, because the principal said to me at the end of that school visit, when the students who did not show up today find out that Roc-A-Fella Records, Kanye West, Rel, all of these artists were in the building and they were not in school, they're going to be very upset. And I said, "Well, why?" And he said, "Because about 50% of our students don't show up on Friday." And I said, "What?" And he said, "Yes." And he said, "So but if you can do this again a few times a year, whatever you can do to help our school, we would appreciate it." And that's when I knew that I Will Graduate was needed.
What do you think is the connection between like music artists and students?
I think for us, it's really, we have seen a direct correlation between what our kids are like, right? So if we are really trying to help our young people, we have to be where they are mentally and understand what they like. And they like pop music. They like, I do when I was their age, Run DMC. I'm telling my age, okay. But nevertheless, we just want to reach them where they are and inspire them to be great. And if we can utilize a Nicki Minaj or, a Drake, or what's the other young lady that's the biggest thing right now? Oh God, Megan Thee
Megan
Stallion.
this, yeah.
If I can use them, why not? If that's going to help us push the envelope for our kids getting what they need, why not?
Right. And speaking of artists who have been very impactful, do you remember, Tonya, where you were when you heard about the passing of the late rapper Pop Smoke?
I don't. Unfortunately, I don't, because I think at that time we were still we didn't understand his magnitude of the scale of his music at that time. And I think he was still just coming up the ladder. But I do remember that feeling of just total disbelief that another one of our young brothers was gone, and just so senselessly. And it was just heartbreaking.
Yeah. And what led to you founding, Gun Violence Destroys Families?
Well, my whole life story has been about me just kind of digging into where I see a need. And I think that when God plants something in our spirit, we are supposed to carry it forth. And that's how we know that's what we're supposed to do at that moment. That's part of the assignment. You will get a message that says, do this or that. And that's what was happening over the summer. I, like everyone else, was devastated about the amount of gun violence in my neighborhood. I live in Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn. I love taking power walks. I love my neighborhood. And a couple of blocks away, there was another shooting of 2 teens. And I said, enough. And I happened to work with the borough president's office, called Eric Adams up on his cell phone and said, what can I do? Because I cannot sit around and see our kids just killing each other. And so we decided that we were going to do a joint venture. And we came up with some ideas where we wanted to bring in Miss Wallace, Biggie's mom, and Pop Smoke's mom. And there's a rapper called Tanek Sean. I know I'm pronouncing his name wrong.
I know.
I'm sorry, I don't want to butcher it.
Right?
And please, none of his fans write me. But we were going to bring all of these parents who lost their children to gun violence, high-profile figures, and we were going to do a big press conference and roll out a program, and it didn't happen. And so I was just like, okay, what can we do? And we had already reached out to Pop Smoke's mom about it, his parents. And so we said, well, can we put together a PSA and let's try to do this 8-week gun violence prevention program. And then we can kind of roll out the awareness that we want to roll out about gun violence destroying lives. And so that's really how the PSA came about.
And you mentioned that this was an assignment that came to you, like in terms of like faith and everything. So how quickly, when you get that kind of message, how quickly do you act on it?
I am a person that tries to be obedient to what God says to me. I don't know about what anybody does with their relationship. So this is all about my relationship with God, right? But I try to be obedient. When I hear something, I always inquire, what is it that you're asking me to do? And when I do that, God always unfolds the plan. And literally, he unfolded the plan and I just follow. I'm real simple. I just follow what he tells me to do and I get it done. We get it done.
Amen to that. Yeah, so tell us more about the 8-week Stop the Violence anti-gun program.
So when we decided to put together the Gun Violence Destroys Life PSA, we wanted to, we didn't want to do, I think, can I go back for a minute?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest problems that we have had in our communities is that there's so much funding and money going into violence prevention, but for some reason, it's getting worse. And so for us, it was, how can we do something different? And let's bring in the kids who are affected in their communities by the gun violence. And so we got some of our students together. We put it out on Instagram for our graduate students who wanted to be who wanted to enroll in this program. We had over 400 students want to enroll, but because it's a pilot program, we only chose 32 students. But these 32 students are really power players. They are contacting their city council. They're reaching out to the mayor's office. They're reaching out to their city council office. They are becoming change agents in their community on the things that they need to stop the gun violence in their communities. We understand that gun violence is a direct correlation, to communities that are underserved, period. When you don't have resources in the communities, no jobs, no after-school programs, nothing for the kids to do, what do you expect them to do, right? And so we understand that if these young people with this 8-week program is putting themselves out there to make change in their neighborhoods, reaching out to the police, they're all going to meet with their police, the captain of their police precinct and their community affairs officer, and sit down and have a meeting with them. They're going to meet with their city council members. So they're saying that, listen, we are tired of talking about this and press conferences about this. This is what we need for the gun violence to stop. Jobs for kids, college and career access, recreational activities, mentoring programs, and just to make sure that they have something to keep them occupied when they are not in school.
Wow, I love that. I love that. And it's also teaching kids, like you said, they're in contact like with the mayor's office, etc. It's teaching them, the power of networking. Would you agree?
Yeah, and it's more than just networking, and I agree. Yes,
Definitely,
absolutely.
yeah.
But it's also about advocating for themselves and understanding that we have a voice. We pay taxpayer dollars, and so, regardless if I pay $5 and you pay $50, we all are in this together. We're all taxpayers, and we have a voice, and we want our young people to learn how to advocate for themselves and to know that they can get the services that they need in their community. They just have to advocate for it.
Tonya, Miss Tonya, how soon on should we teach children the importance of advocating for themselves?
As early as possible. I think that as soon as, if you look at other cultures, and I always relate this to the Jewish community. I live in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, so not too far from my neighborhood is the Hasidic Jewish community. And I watch them. I watch how they move. And they teach their children from, by the time they can even understand anything, they understand about community and about advocating for themselves and about understanding their history and their culture. And we have to take a lesson from that and duplicate that in our community.
So as you mentioned, the Stop the Violence Anti-Gun program, that is a pilot program.
Mm-hmm.
What is next for it, and what do you want to be next for it?
So we received a grant from the mayor's office, and we're using that grant for this program. And so what's next is now to have agents of change all around the city. Kids who are tired of seeing their friends and their neighbors and people that in their community get murdered because of not having anything for themselves, for kids to do. And so we want to take this program and expand it. We want, instead of 32, how about 320 students around the city who are in their communities promoting peace, promoting change, promoting nonviolence, promoting education, promoting community, promoting being the best version of themselves. So that's what we see for the program.
Wow, that is wonderful. And congratulations on the grant and everything. No surprise. Yeah,
We've been very fortunate. We lost a jewel back in April, 90% of our money. The city snatched it and it was gone. There was nothing we could do about it. And I had my cry moment, fall down and get myself together. So I'm over that. But the beauty that came out of the ashes was that we started writing for grants. We lost 28 staff members, so we're down to 5 of us, right? We had to lay off 28 people. And what is interesting is that in what came out of the ashes was these 3 grants that we were able to get. And all 3 of them we wrote for in the pandemic and received all of them. And they totaled about $500,000.
Wow.
So
You see?
out of the ashes. And the first one was a small grant. The second one is medium size. The third one is a larger grant, and that starts in September for the school year. So we're excited. I mean, listen, we can do so much. And, you know, we as a people, we take little and we know how to make much. So we don't need a lot, but we want a lot. Give us everything you owe us.
Right. Yes.
But we don't need a lot to do what we need to do for our children.
Wow. No,
But give us a lot.
Give us a lot. Yes.
Give us a lot, but we don't need a lot.
Right? It's a matter of what we deserve, right?
There you go. That's exactly what I'm saying. I know this is what we deserve, but even if I had less, I could do so much. You know, you can do so much with little. Little becomes much when it's done with love.
Oh, Miss Tonya Lewis. Do you prefer to go by Tonya Lewis Taylor or Tonya Lewis?
Yeah, I'm a Taylor, honey. My
yes,
Tonya. Pause for this.
Okay, I hear that. I hear that, Miss Tonya Lewis.
Yeah, he worked hard, so I gotta, let him have his name.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes, I hear that, Miss Tonya Lewis Taylor. Yes,
it's the end of the day, so I'm cutting up now.
Wow, so what is the message that you want to give to all the children out there and the change makers, our future leaders?
Be courageous. Ooh, I love that. Be courageous. Be fearless. This is your time. I want to tell all of our young people, this is your season. This is our time to rise up as a people. And I'm looking for the young people that came after me to supersede what I've done. And so my message to them is to go forward and be all that you can be in excellence. That's my message.
And it seems like that's what you have applied to your own life. Were you always this way from your youth, and who encouraged you to take on the world and make a difference?
I was raised by old people. So thus, and I come from a Southern family, Southern background, and I am the youngest of a whole generation of people of the whole. I'm the baby grandchild of the whole lineage. And so I was bullied, I was pushed around, and I always was the one that they said, oh, you go with them. And so I was always around old people. And so, but what that did though, is that it taught me wisdom, it taught me knowledge, it helped me understand things. They used to teach me stuff and talk to them. When you're young, you don't understand it, but you realize that you've absorbed all of these lessons that these old people gave you. And so I'm grateful for who they've helped me become. But they were rough on me. They didn't play. You got to do it right. And if they tell you to do it, you better do it right the first time. And so I think with that type of upbringing, you become excellent. Everything has to be done right and do it right the first time, because they will make you go back and do it 10 times. So you might as well do it right the first time, right? So that's right. Where I think I got all of this from.
And when you say old, just quickly, like how old are we talking? What's considered old for the parents?
And my grandmother, my grand aunt, and they had a singing group called the St. Peter's Gospel Singers. And I had to be around all of the older folks. So when I was growing up, I guess they were in their, 50s, 60s? I don't know. But, they were not my age.
Right. Yeah. And there is a difference, like in parenting, like depending on how old the parents can be and stuff.
Yeah. And when I say that my mother and father, basically, raised us, of course, but I spent so much time being a baby around all the older people, and even in church, I had to be around the older people, because I've often told people this. I suffered with ADHD as a child. So when I would go to the church, they had 2 of the mothers assigned to me of the church. As soon as I walked in, they would say, "Come with me," and I would have to sit sandwiched between the two of them in order to be still. So with that type of upbringing, you will learn excellence. You will learn how to do things right. And I look back now and I'm grateful.
And on that note, Miss Tonya Lewis Taylor, everyone. Thank you so much for coming on So Book and Cool and talking to So Book and Cool today, Miss Tonya Lewis Taylor. I know we did the Q&A before, but it was nice to connect in this way, you know. And
Absolutely.
You look fabulous. How can people get Be You Not Her and check out the very poignant PSA, Gun Violence Destroys Families?
Absolutely. The PSA is on our website. It's on our YouTube, Instagram. So if you just go to our website, iwillgraduateprogram.com, you will be able to see the PSA and also see the good work that we're doing in our communities and for our youth. And then if you would like to get the book, you can get it at Amazon Books, Be You Not Her. And you can reach me on my website, TonyaLewisTaylor.com, or on Facebook or Instagram.
And what do you want people to know about you when they come across the amazing work that you do and that you have been doing?
The word that comes to me is servant. You know, I am very fortunate to be a servant, to do good for all that I can. And that's what I want people to know, that I am very grateful and humbled that I can serve, that I've been fortunate enough and in a position that God has allowed me to serve. So thank you.
Oh my goodness, just wonderful.
Wow.
Yes, wow, so positive and inspiring and empowering. And I hope.
Thank you so much.
No problem, Miss Tonya, and I hope to speak again in the future. I really do.
We will, Jewel. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, and to all your guests, amazing. This woman is amazing. Support her, and blessings to you always, Jewel.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Likewise, and thank you to all the listeners. Until next time, So Book and Cool.
Bye.